Hello, and welcome, lovely writers, to yet another Writerly Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about how much description versus how much dialogue in your novel. If you like today's video, please hit the thumbs up, please hit subscribe, and click that little bell for notifications every time I upload another video of Writerly Tips. If you are new here, I'm Anjanette. I am a former literary agent, current writing coach, and mentor who loves helping you harness the power of your story. We talk all things writerly process and practice and our love of books. So let's dive into today's topic. I was talking with a writer this week who's fairly new to writing fiction. That may be like you. Or even if you are experienced at writing fiction, when it comes to editing, this may confuse you a little bit. So let's talk about how to decide how much description versus how much dialogue. Here's the truth. There's no one strict answer. And I know that sometimes that can feel like a letdown. You just want somebody to tell you, 50-50 or 70-30 or something like that. But that's not the case. Let me go through the 3 reasons why, or the 3 places you need to look to decide what's right for you. Because we all know, and you've heard me say this before, whether somebody likes your story or not, whether you like a story or not, is totally subjective. So even if you're trying to get traditionally published, following an exact formula is still not going to hit the exact same way for every reader you have. So let's start with this question, description versus dialogue. It can actually be really genre specific. Well, how do we know? There are genres like sci-fi and fantasy that are filled with world building and exposition. And this is totally right for those genres. It is what the readers are clamoring for. And so if that is your preferred genre of writing, or you're taking a new turn and you want to write in those genres, get ready for writing a lot of exposition, giving a lot of context, doing a lot of world building. If you are writing in a different genre, then that may not be the case. I can think specifically of books like crime thrillers, psychological thrillers. It's not so heavy on exposition, but pace is extremely important. And then we're getting down to the right amount. What is the right amount? Well, it depends. We're going to get to that. So the second place you can look to find out what's the right amount of description versus dialogue for you, what's your preference? The truth is that even within these genres I'm talking about, there are writers who write differing levels. You may not love exposition. You may not love tons of description, and that's okay. What we want to read as writers, what I want to read as a former agent or a writing mentor, even as a reader, is what you love to do, because that comes through in the writing. Now, can you give up all exposition, all description? No, unless you are writing a screenplay, and then even then you would have notes. You can't give it all up. We need some context. But you need to follow your personal preference. So go out and look at those books that you love, and you can emulate them. You're not copying, you're certainly not plagiarizing, but you are looking at, what do I love about it? And can I do that with my own writing? That is totally natural. In fact, what we do. The best writers take something from multiple genres. And it is all about personal preference. I don't want you writing a book you don't want to read. I don't want to read a book you didn't want to write. Does that make sense? So go out and do some investigation. It's not a cop-out. It's exactly what we naturally should be doing. I want you to write what you would like to read as well. So find out, what is the balance in those books? The description that they have, does it firmly put you in place? The best, most magical writing is the writing that pulls you into a story and you don't get so analytical that you lose yourself in the story. That's one of the big red flags that I find when I'm doing a read-through for a writer. If I am snagging on something, then there's something we need to tweak. The third place that I would like for you to look, and it's not looking so much as just being aware again, and if I hammer this over and over, there's a good reason for it. Your first draft may well not be indicative of what you want to be writing, and that's okay. We can't get out of editing. We're all gonna do it. But I want you to look at show versus tell. If you are telling, even though that can look like exposition and you think you've got the balance right, even if you're describing and giving context, we still want to be shown. We want to see what it looks like. We don't just want to be told what the character sees, if that makes sense. So go and have a look at some other videos we've got on show versus tell. I would love to give you extra examples and we can absolutely talk about it in the comments. But that's the third place that I would go when you're trying to work out for yourself. What is the best balance of description versus dialogue? I cannot, nor will I, give you a percentage. I am sure that there are writers and teachers out there who may do that. And look, I'll be totally honest. If you are a word and number person and getting a percentage makes you feel better and relaxes you into the writing, then use that tool. But what I would wish for you is that you start to trust yourself a little bit more, look at your own preferences, and write that way. I want you to get enjoyment out of it, even as you are working and up-leveling and working on your craft. So hopefully that answers the question for you, or at least gives you some place to start on how much description versus dialogue. If you've got a question you'd love me to answer on an upcoming video, please drop it in the comments below. You can always email me, anjanette@storyaslife.com. Until next time, I hope you have a totally beautiful writerly week, and I will see you again soon. Bye, writers.